It happens in silence. You think everything is fine. You are the provider. You are the nice guy. You did everything right. But while you were building a future for her, she was already auditing your replacement. One day, she's cold. The next day, she's gone. And within 2 weeks, she is posting pictures with someone new. Someone who looks like he's been there for a long time. And you sit there staring at your phone, asking yourself the question that haunts every man at least once in his life. How did she move on so fast? Here is the brutal truth that society is too scared to tell you. She didn't move on fast. She had moved on months ago. She just waited until the new branch was secure before she let go of yours. In psychology, this is called monkey branching. Think about how a monkey moves through a forest. It never lets go of the current branch until it has a firm grip on the next one. It fears falling. It fears being alone. And sadly, modern relationships often work the exact same way. It's not about love. It's not about loyalty. It's about survival. And today, we are going to dissect the dark evolutionary psychology behind why women upgrade and why being a good man was never enough. Let's be clear, this isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding the deep-seated primal instincts that often drive human behavior, whether we like it or not. This concept is called hypergamy. It's the instinct to seek a partner of higher social or economic status. For millennia, a woman's survival and the survival of her offspring depended on her ability to secure a partner. It's a subconscious drive, a piece of evolutionary software running in the background. So, where did you, the good man, go wrong? You likely became complacent. You provided, yes. You were stable. You were predictable. But predictability can often lead to a lack of excitement and perceived value. You became the safe branch, but she started looking for a stronger, more exciting one. While you were focused on building the nest, you forgot to make her feel the thrill of the flight. You stopped being the challenge. You stopped being the prize. Instead, you became a utility. And when a better utility came along, you were replaced, the new guy. He likely represents something you don't. Maybe he's more charismatic, has higher social status, is more physically dominant, or simply presents a new and exciting challenge. He's the upgrade. He's the stronger branch. She wasn't just looking for a provider. She was also looking for a leader, a man who excites her and makes her feel protected on a primal level. The moment she felt you couldn't provide that anymore, or that someone else could provide it better, her emotional checkout process began. She starts creating distance. The texts get shorter. The I love yous feel hollow. She starts arguments over nothing, creating a narrative in her mind that justifies her leaving. She is subconsciously building a case against you to alleviate her own guilt. This is the auditing phase. She's comparing you, side by side, with the new potential partner. She's stress-testing the new branch while still holding on to you. All of this happens behind the curtain, while you're still planning your next date night, oblivious to the fact that the relationship is already over in her mind. So, what's the lesson here? Is it that you should never trust? No. The lesson is that you must never stop being the man she fell in love with. The chase doesn't end when you get the girl. In fact, that's when the real work begins. You must continuously demonstrate your value, not just as a provider, but as a leader, a lover, and a man with his own purpose and mission. A woman wants to be part of a man's adventure. She doesn't want to be the entire adventure. When your whole world revolves around her, your world becomes very small, and she will inevitably feel claustrophobic. To prevent this, you need to focus on your own growth. Be ambitious in your career, stay physically fit, maintain your own friendships and hobbies, have a life outside of her. This isn't about playing games. It's about being a high-value man who is secure in himself, with or without a partner. This self-sufficiency is paradoxically what makes you most attractive. It signals that you are not needy, that you are a strong branch yourself, and that any woman would be lucky to hold on. Being a good man is the baseline. It's the entry ticket. But it's not enough to keep a woman truly deeply invested for the long haul. You also need to be a strong man, a man who commands respect, who inspires her, and who she knows is always striving to be the best version of himself. That is the kind of man no woman wants to upgrade from. That is the branch she will never let go of. If this resonated with you, and you want to learn more about the unfiltered truths of modern dating and self-improvement, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started. Thanks for watching. Let's talk about something that might make some of you a little uncomfortable, but stick with me because understanding this is key to understanding modern relationships. We're going to strip away all the romance, all the poetry, and all the Disney movie magic for a moment. We're going to look at love, not through the lens of a fairy tale, but through the cold, hard lens of biology. Imagine this. For tens of thousands of years, human life was a brutal, relentless game of survival. For a woman in the ancient world, being alone wasn't just about feeling lonely. It was a death sentence. She needed protection from predators. She needed access to resources like food and shelter. And to ensure her children survived, she needed the strongest, most capable male in the tribe by her side. This wasn't a preference, it was a necessity. This harsh reality forged a deep biological hardwiring, a survival instinct that we now call hypergamy. Now, before you get defensive or angry at that word, let's unpack what it really means. It's not about being greedy or shallow. Hypergamy is simply the instinctual drive to seek out and secure the best possible option for survival and reproduction. It's an evolutionary strategy. We all know that men, from a biological standpoint, are wired to look for youth and physical beauty. Why? Because those traits are subconscious signals for health and fertility, indicating a higher chance of successfully passing on genes. But for women, the calculation was different. While a man's looks might have been a bonus, they weren't the main event. Women are wired to look for security, status, ambition, and capability. Think about it from a cave woman's perspective. Who is the best provider? Who can protect our family from a rival tribe, or a saber-toothed tiger who has the respect of the group and access to the best resources? These were the questions that mattered. If her current partner became weak, injured, or lost his status, or if a stronger, more capable male came along, her survival instinct would kick in. Her brain would tell her, this is your chance to improve your odds of survival and the survival of your children. Switching to the stronger male wasn't an act of betrayal in the modern sense. It was a deeply ingrained, strategic act of survival. Okay, let's fast forward to today. The world has changed dramatically. Don't live in caves. Most of us aren't worried about being eaten by wild animals. Women can get an education, build amazing careers, earn their own money, and create their own security. A woman doesn't need a man for her basic survival anymore. And this is where things get really interesting, because here's the catch. Evolution moves at a glacial pace. It doesn't care about the internet, social media, or the fact that you can order groceries to your door. Our brains are still running that ancient primal software. So, even though a modern woman is independent and capable, that deep evolutionary programming is still humming away in the background. That primal part of her brain, the part that's been shaped over millennia, is constantly scanning the environment. It's subconsciously running a continuous audit on her relationship, asking one silent, powerful question: is he still the best I can do? This isn't a conscious, calculating thought. It's a feeling, an instinct. It's the reason why ambition, drive, and competence are so attractive to women, even today. It's not about the money in his bank account right now. It's about his potential, his ability to navigate the world, to lead, and to build a secure future. So what does this mean for us in 2024? It means that stability in a relationship isn't just about being a nice guy. It's about showing up as a capable, dependable partner who is continuously growing. That ancient part of her brain wants to see that you are on a mission, that you are striving to be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday. It's not about being perfect, it's about progress. When a man stagnates, becomes complacent, or loses his drive, he's inadvertently signaling to that ancient software that he might no longer be the best option. And in a world filled with endless options just a swipe away, that ancient instinct is more powerful than ever. Understanding this isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding the deep-seated forces that shape our attractions and our relationships. Thanks for watching. If this gave you a new perspective, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that dives deep into the things that make us human. See you in the next one. I know this might sound cold, even a bit calculating, but hear me out. Most of the time, this isn't a conscious, malicious plan. It's a deep-seated, subconscious drive. It happens when you get complacent, when you stop growing as a person, when you become too safe and predictable. It's like an ancient alarm goes off in her head. Suddenly, you don't look like the strong protector anymore. You start looking more like a dependent. The second she starts feeling like she's better than you, or that she could do better than you, a silent clock starts ticking down. Now, this is where things can get a little dark. Men, stereotypically, might leave a relationship abruptly, almost on a whim. But women, they rarely leave without a solid plan. This is the stage I call the emotional checkout. I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. Think back to those last few months of your relationship. Remember how she suddenly stopped arguing? You probably thought things were finally getting better. You might have said to yourself, "Wow, we haven't fought in weeks. Things are great." You were wrong. That silence wasn't peace. That silence was indifference. When a woman is preparing to leave to monkey branch to someone new, she detaches herself emotionally first. It's a strange kind of grief. She starts mourning the end of the relationship while she's still in it, maybe even while she's lying in bed right next to you. You'll notice her energy pull back. She stops sharing her day, her secrets, her dreams. She stops complaining about the little things that used to bother her, not because they're fixed, but because she no longer cares enough to want to fix them. In her mind, during this emotional checkout phase, she is essentially single. Her radar is on, scanning the horizon for new possibilities. Maybe it's that coworker who's been giving her a little extra attention. Maybe it's an old ex who conveniently slid back into her DMIs. Physically, she hasn't cheated not yet, but she's testing the waters. She's metaphorically grabbing onto a new branch and giving it a little shake just to see if it will hold her weight. And the moment she's convinced that the new branch is strong and secure enough, she lets go of you, just like that. That's why the breakup seems so sudden, so out of the blue from your perspective. For you, the relationship ended today. But for her, it ended 6 months ago. She was just waiting for her safety net to be firmly in place before she made the final jump. It's a tough pill to swallow, but understanding this process is the first step to healing and making sure it does unhappen to you again. Thanks for watching, and if this resonated with you, make sure to subscribe for more. Here's something that's going to be tough for a lot of good men to hear. You look back at a relationship that ended, and you're completely confused. You think, "But I treated her like a queen. I was always there for her. I never cheated. I gave her financial stability, emotional support, everything." And ironically, that might be exactly why it fell apart. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? How can being a good man, a reliable partner, actually be a bad thing for attraction? To really get this, we need to dive into how the human brain, and specifically the female brain in this context, processes two very different things: desire versus comfort. There is a fundamental rule in human psychology that applies to almost everything we want in life. We do untruly desire what we already securely have. Think about it. When you were a kid, the toy you wanted most was the one you weren't sure you'd get. As an adult, the job promotion you fight for is the one that isn't guaranteed. Desire needs a gap. It requires a little bit of mystery, a little bit of uncertainty. It thrives on the chase, the feeling that something valuable could be lost. Now let's apply this to relationships. When you became the perfect, predictable, always available, nice guy, you inadvertently closed that gap. You solved all the puzzles. You killed the mystery. You stopped being a man she had to win over and instead became a guarantee. You became safety, and here is the critical distinction. Women absolutely need safety and security to build a life with someone. It's a non-negotiable for a long-term partnership. But attraction is a different beast altogether. While women need safety for survival and stability, they are often bored by safety when it comes to raw, primal attraction. When you're too available, too predictable, you risk becoming like a piece of furniture in her life. You're reliable, you're sturdy, you're always there in the corner. But you're also invisible. You blend into the background. She stopped wondering what you were doing with your friends because she always knew you'd text her every 10 minutes. She stopped getting that little flutter of excitement when you walked in the door because your arrival was as predictable as the sun rising. She stopped fearing losing you because your actions screamed, "I'm not going anywhere, no matter what." Instead, she saw a man whose entire world revolved only around her, and that can feel less like a partnership and more like a dependency. This isn't about playing games or being a jerk. It's the opposite. It's about being a man with such a strong sense of his own purpose and mission that he is inherently a challenge. He doesn't create artificial distance. His busy, passionate life creates natural distance. Have you ever wondered why seemingly perfect, long-term relationships suddenly fall apart? It often comes down to a dangerous psychological trap that many people aren't even aware of. It's a phenomenon that can slowly poison a good thing, and once respect starts to fade, it leaves the door wide open for what psychologists call the 80-20th rule. This rule is the hidden destroyer of countless relationships, and understanding it is key to protecting your own. Here's how it works. Let's be honest. No one is perfect. You can't be everything to one person all the time. You can't be the super reliable, stable provider and the unpredictable, wild bad boy simultaneously. So imagine you in a relationship where you giving your partner about 80% of what they need. You're loyal, you provide financial stability, you're emotionally supportive, and you're a true partner in every sense of the word. By any measure, that's a solid A-grade relationship. You've built something real and substantial together, but there's always that missing 20%. Maybe it's a lack of spontaneity. Maybe you've both fallen into a comfortable routine, and that initial spark of excitement has dimmed. Perhaps she secretly craves a bit of that bad boy edge, that feeling of danger or unpredictability that you've outgrown. So, what happens next? This is where the trap is set. Over time, she stops seeing and appreciating the incredible 80% you provide. That stability, that loyalty, that partnership hit becomes her new normal, her baseline. It's expected, and because it's always there, it starts to feel boring. Her focus then shifts. She becomes hyper-aware of what's missing. That 20% deficit becomes an obsession. All she can think about is the excitement she's not getting, the spontaneity that isn't there. Her mind starts to wander, and she begins looking at other men through the lens of that missing 20%. She sees a guy at a party who's charismatic and a bit reckless, and thinks he has what's missing. She notices a coworker who's flirty and unpredictable, and a dangerous thought takes root. And then, one day, she meets him, the new guy, the one who embodies that missing 20%. In the context of relationships, this is often called the branch. She's holding on to her current stable relationship, the vine butt. She's already reaching out for a new one. Now, let's take a closer look at this new guy. Objectively, he might be a total downgrade. He could be financially unstable. He might be arrogant, self-centered, and not treat her nearly as well as you did. He might lack the emotional maturity for a real partnership. But none of that matters in the moment, because he represents one thing and one thing only, that missing 20%. He is exciting, he is unpredictable. His texts are sporadic, keeping her on her toes. He gives her those intense dopamine spikes of novelty and uncertainty that she hasn't felt in years. The thrill of the chase is back, and it's intoxicating. In her mind, she makes a fatal calculation error. It's a mistake driven by emotion, not logic. She convinces herself, if I leave my 80% partner for this new guy who has the 20% I am missing, I will finally have it all. I'll get 100% and be truly happy. She's chasing a fantasy. She believes she can add his 20% to her existing 80% and create a perfect whole. But relationship math doesn't work that way. She's not adding, she's trading. She is on the verge of giving up your solid, dependable 80% just to get a taste of his fleeting, unstable 20%. She's about to monkey branch from a strong, sturdy oak tree to a thin, fragile twig, purely for the momentary thrill. She doesn't realize that the very excitement she's chasing has a very short expiration date. Novelty always fades, and the thrill of the unpredictable becomes the stress of the unreliable. Once the initial excitement wears off, she'll be left with just his 20%, and the massive, gaping hole where your 80% used to be. She'll find herself with a man who can't offer stability, support, or a true partnership. The grass she thought was greener was just artificial turf. And by the time she realizes the catastrophic mistake she's made, it's often too late. The bridge back to that solid, loving 80% has been burned. This is the tragic, self-inflicted outcome of the 80-20th rule. A cautionary tale for anyone who forgets to appreciate what they have. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into the psychology of relationships. See you in the next one. Ever wondered why some women leave stable, high-value men for guys who just seem like a total downgrade? You look at the new guy and think, him? Really? That makes no sense? Logically, you're right. He's a downgrade. But emotionally, he's like a drug. He provides the chaos, the drama, the roller coaster of emotions that she mistakes for feeling alive. You offered her a calm, beautiful ocean, but what she really wanted was a storm. She craved the highs and lows, not the steady, peaceful current. But there's another, deeper layer to this, especially in today's world. It's a phenomenon called hypergamous doubt. In the age of social media, a woman is constantly bombarded with what looks like infinite options. Every single time she opens Instagram or TikTok, she sees a man who seems taller, richer, more handsome, or more adventurous than her current partner. This creates a permanent state of FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's a relentless whisper in her ear. Even if you are a genuinely great guy, a solid partner, the digital world is constantly telling her, you could do better. There's someone else out there. This constant exposure to perceived better options plants a seed of doubt. She starts to wonder if her comfortable, stable relationship is actually holding her back from a more exciting life she sees online. The steady love you provide starts to feel boring compared to the fantasy of what could be. This isn't always a conscious thought process. It's a subtle, creeping feeling of dissatisfaction fueled by an endless highlight reel of other people's lives. It makes her question her own reality and her own happiness, even when things are objectively good. So, what happens when this doubt takes root? She starts to look for an exit ramp. And this is where things get tricky. She can't just leave a good relationship without a good reason, because that would make her the villain in her own story. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. So, she has to manufacture a crisis. She needs to turn you into the villain to justify her desire to leave. Have you ever experienced this? An argument that erupts out of nowhere. She picks a massive fight over something tiny, like the dishes not being done, the way you loaded the dishwasher, or even something as ridiculous as the way you breathe. You're left standing there completely bewildered, thinking, what is this really about? Well, here's the answer. It's not about the dishes. It was never about the dishes. She is creating conflict. She's building a case against you, not just for herself, but for her friends and family too. She's creating a narrative where leaving you isn't just a choice, but a necessity. She's not just unhappy, she's a victim of your flaws. This is why she starts rewriting history. Suddenly, all the good times are forgotten or twisted. That time you supported her through a tough career change, erased. Now, the story is you were never supportive. The mutual agreements you made as a couple. Now they're reframed as you being always controlling. It's a form of gaslighting. But interestingly, she's often gaslighting herself just as much as she's gaslighting you. She has to convince herself that the relationship was terrible all along. By painting you as the villain, she gives herself the moral green light to monkey branch, to swing from your branch to the next one without ever touching the ground. She lines up the next guy while she's still with you because it's less scary than being alone. She devalues everything you built together. Your character, your love, your commitments, it all gets torn down so she can make her leap without the crushing weight of guilt. She isn't just leaving you, she's actively destroying your value in her mind to make her exit feel heroic instead of selfish. It's a self-preservation tactic, protecting her from her own conscience. It's a tough pill to swallow, but understanding this pattern can save you a lot of confusion and heartache. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more insights. See you in the next one. So, she left. She grabbed that new branch, swung away, and left you standing there all alone in the dark. I know it feels like the end of the world right now, but let me pull back the curtain for you. Let me tell you what's really happening on the other side. I'm going to spoil the ending of her little movie, because I promise you, It's not the romantic comedy she thinks it is. Remember that 80-20th rule we've talked about? She traded the 80% of solid, reliable stability you gave her for his 20% of fleeting excitement. Well, here's the thing about excitement. It has a shelf life. That thrill is like a cheap drug. The dopamine rush wears off, and it wears off fast. Usually, within about 3 to 6 months, the new guy stops being new. The mystery that was so alluring, it fades. Annoying. And then, one morning, she'll wake up next to a man who provides excitement but offers zero stability. Suddenly, the reality of her decision starts to sink in. It's a return to a relationship that's now built on a foundation of betrayal. You're not her safety school. You're not a backup plan. You have to understand that her regret isn't about losing you as a person. It's about losing the comfort and security you provided. She misses the benefits of being with you, not the responsibility of loving you. By this point, you've been working on yourself. You've been healing, growing stronger, and rebuilding your life from the ground up. You've been leveling up. Going back to her would be like a video game character, reaching the final boss, only to return to the tutorial level. So when that text comes, and trust me, it will, you have a choice. You can be the safe harbor she runs back to when her adventure fails, or you can be the king who knows his worth and keeps moving forward. The best revenge isn't getting her back. It's building a life so incredible that she becomes a distant memory. Let her watch from the sidelines as you become the man she wishes she'd never left. Your story doesn't end with her leaving. That was just the prologue. Your main chapter is just beginning. Stay strong. Thanks for watching, and if this helped, make sure to like and subscribe for more content to help you level up. We'll see you in the next one. Alright, let's talk about the single most dangerous moment in your life after a breakup. It's not the initial heartbreak, not the lonely nights. It's the moment of the return. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It starts so subtly, almost innocently. A single like on an old Instagram photo, a view on your story, right at the top of the list. Then it escalates. A random text message pops up on your screen at 11 p.m. "Hey stranger," it reads. Or maybe it's a picture of something you both used to like, with the caption, "Saw this and thought of you." Your heart might skip a beat. You might think, she misses me, she made a mistake. But let me be crystal clear, do not be fooled. This is not a declaration of love. This is not a sign of genuine remorse. This, my friend, is a safety check. She's testing the waters. She's checking to see if you're still there, sitting by the phone, waiting for her, like a loyal, heartbroken puppy. She's checking if her safety net is still securely in place, just in case her new adventure, her new guy, doesn't work out. She's swinging on a new branch, and she is just making sure the old one is still strong enough to catch her if she falls. If you respond with excitement, if you welcome her back with open arms at this stage, you are committing one of the biggest mistakes a man can possibly make. Think about what you're communicating by taking her back instantly. You're not showing her forgiveness or unconditional love. You're showing her that there are absolutely zero consequences for her actions. You are teaching her a very dangerous lesson. That she can leave you, betray your trust, try to replace you with someone else, fail miserably at it, and then just waltz right back into your life as if nothing ever happened. You are essentially screaming, "I have no self-respect. My boundaries mean nothing. Please, walk all over me." And here's a hard truth you need to understand. A woman cannot and will not love a man she does not respect. It's impossible. Respect is the foundation of any healthy attraction and relationship. When you erase that foundation by accepting disrespectful behavior, you're not rebuilding what you lost. You're just setting up a more spectacular failure for the future. And make no mistake, she will leave you again. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. The moment she gets bored, the moment another, more exciting opportunity presents itself, she's gone. Why wouldn't she be? You've already shown her that there's no penalty for leaving. She knows she can always come back to good old, reliable you. You become the permanent backup plan, not the prize she's afraid to lose. You deserve to be the prize. So what's the solution? How do you handle this situation? How do you not just survive the return, but actually come out on top? You have to change the game. The first step is to recognize these breadcrumbs for what they are, a test of your strength and self-worth. When that "Hey stranger" text comes in, your impulse will be to reply immediately. Don't let it sit. Let her wonder. Your silence is more powerful than any angry or emotional text you could ever send. It communicates that your life has moved on, that your world no longer revolves around waiting for her. You're busy. You have things going on. You are not the same man she left. When you do decide to respond, if you even choose to, your response must be calm, indifferent, and brief. No long paragraphs pouring your heart out. No asking, "Why are you texting me?" A simple, "Hope you're doing well," is more than enough. Your goal is not to restart the old conversation. It's to show her that you are in a new chapter and she's part of the old one. You need to focus all that energy you re-tempted to spend on her and reinvest it in yourself. Go to the gym, excel at your job, pick up a new hobby, hang out with friends who lift you up. Become a better version of yourself. Not for her, but for you. This is how you win. You don't win by getting her back. You win by building a life so amazing that whether she's in it or not becomes irrelevant. You win by cultivating so much self-respect that you would never even consider being someone's second option. All right, listen up. I know you're hurting right now. She left, and it feels like your world just shattered. You want to call her, text her, demand an explanation. You're asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Let me tell you something you need to hear. The only way to win this game is to stop playing it. You have to understand that she didn't reject you as a person. She rejected the version of you that she felt she had already conquered. Think about it. You gave too much, didn't you? You loved too hard, without any boundaries. She became the absolute center of your universe, and in the process, you lost your own orbit. You stopped being the man she was attracted to in the first place. You became predictable, available, and worst of all, needy. You see, the most magnetic, the most attractive trait to a woman isn't how much money you have or how good-looking you are. It's non-neediness. It's that quiet confidence, the ability to walk away. It's the powerful mindset that says, I want you in my life, but I absolutely do not need you to complete it. You had that once, and you lost it somewhere along the way. Right now, all you want is closure. You want to hear her say why. You want to understand her reasons. But here's the truth. You don't need her explanation. Her actions are the only explanation you'll ever need. Let's call it what it is: monkey branching. Swinging from one relationship to the next without ever touching the ground. This isn't a sign of her being a prize you lost. It's a sign of deep, deep insecurity. It shows she can't stand on her own 2 feet. She always needs a man to hold her up, to validate her, to be her emotional support system. That's not a partner, my friend. That's a dependent. You didn't lose a high-value woman. you lost a liability. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can start healing. So let her go. Seriously, let her swing from branch to branch, chasing that next dopamine hit from a new guy. Let her look for someone else to fix her. That's not your job anymore. You have real work to do. It's time to stop focusing on her and start rebuilding your own value. Hit the gym. I mean, really hit it. Go until your muscles burn so much you forget the pain in your heart. Pour all that frustrated energy into building your career or your business. Make so much progress they have to notice. Reconnect with your friends, the ones you probably neglected. Go out, have fun, laugh again. Rediscover the man you were before you made her your everything. Your mission is to become a version of yourself that is so undeniable, so high value, so self-sufficient, that one day she'll look back from whatever broken branch she is clinging to and realize that letting you go was the single biggest financial and emotional mistake of her life. But here's the beautiful part. By the time that happens, it won't even matter to you. You won't be looking back. You'll be so far ahead, so focused on your own path, that her regret will be a distant echo you can barely hear. You'll be miles away, climbing a mountain she can't even see from the jungle floor. Don't be her safety net, waiting for her to fall back. Be the mountain, solid, unmovable, and rising ever higher. Now go get to work. Thanks for watching, and if this helped, make sure you subscribe for more.